Cristian, welcome to the InvestorKit podcast, mate. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Anytime, my friend. Well, you've got a special story and the journey you've been on is incredible. But property journey is something everyone talks about all the time. And I know we'll get to that. I want to go before the property investor. I want to talk to Cristian, who's just come to Australia. What was life like when you first moved here for you and how that's gone on to shape who you are today?
Definitely, in one word, tough. Tough and hard. I was only 22 years old when I've arrived here. No English. I didn't know anyone. No aunties or uncles or cousins or nothing. I just had my backpack and 1 week of a hostel booked in. And
1 week at a time. That's intense.
Yeah, just 1 week. And then I was like, and now what? In that moment, you just realize that all your life now it's in your hands. So then from the basic things, how to buy a SIM card to clothes to anything, you have to figure it out. The interesting thing is that I actually, talking to people, discovered that everyone wanted to be here. Originally I was meant to be only an experience for a year to just learn English. That was my main thing. So living in Italy, England was too close. The weather, I'm like, no, not the weather, definitely not. USA didn't feel right. So then Australia was the next option. But everyone wanted to come here. And for the first 6 months, literally, I wanted to feel that. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to stay here. It's just, everything is quite hard. Going summer, the beach, love the water, sending curriculums everywhere. With a backpack and hostels and waiter, everything I could find, right? I was very close to going to a farm to be able to get an extra year. So before doing that, everyone was at the beach and swimming and I was walking everywhere. I've landed actually in a surface paradise.
And so how long ago was this? This hustle was truly real, man.
Yes, it was end of October 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. After that, I was lucky to find a restaurant that took me on board. After 2 weeks, they stopped giving me shifts, which now I know why.
What did you do? What did you do wrong? What's the story from back then?
I think it's not so much what I've done wrong. It's the lack of English. I still remember...
one chips, thanks. No, they said dips, not chips. Dips.
Was actually the water. The water was like order or water.
There you go.
So bring me some water. So I was like, I have no idea. So I was using a lot of colleagues, to be able help me here, help me there. So I finished there. Then I'm like, I don't have any other options. Maybe I have to go back to Brisbane. So I was going forward and backwards between Surfers Paradise and Brisbane finding a job.
Yeah, wow.
I was in Brisbane and one from Surfers Paradise called me to clean a hotel. And I was scared to tell them that I'm in Brisbane because maybe they didn't give me the job.
Right.
So say, be here tomorrow morning. So catch a train, go there. They gave me the trolley, gave me everything, and I had no idea what I'm doing. So I had to kind of improvise.
Yeah, wow. What a story, right? So you've come from overseas in Italy, came to learn English. It was an intense starting period from hostel jumping to living 1 week at a time. Try to fit in a bit of beach time here and there. But then jobs, trying to extend that stay. That's so full on. Now, when did you feel you really got the momentum here in Australia? Because you and Alexia, when did you guys meet?
Was few months after that through the job, because I'm a professional dancer, born Latin dancer. I've started sending the curriculum also in Sydney. Some companies have heard about my success and my level of dancing, so they wanted to see me. So I was flying now forward and backwards from Brisbane to Sydney for all these interviews. I literally thought to myself, if I'm not able to find the job now, I only came here with 5,000 euros, which is probably about $6,000. And obviously they go quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I don't find a job now, I will have to leave or go into a farm. So literally, between myself and the universe, I kind of made a deal. I said, if I get these opportunities, I will do my best and push through it. And literally a few days later, I got a call from this job, which actually was borderline scary. I was like, wow, you talk to yourself and then this happens. And got the job. I moved to Sydney. That's the point when things start moving, because you become more stable. So I find a place, you find a job. And my wife at the time was my manager. So we still joking we have very different stories about how it all happened. My story was more like this hot girl, and she's 5 years older than me. So if I was 22, she was about 27. And I was misinterpreting all her cues. She was genuinely just helping me because I couldn't speak English. I was like lost. Even starting at the gym, I needed an emergency contact detail. Who do I put, right? So I asked her and she gave me the phone number. So I'm like,
I got this, right?
So I'm like, okay, this is something more than that. We were working quite a lot together, and we're both in the same industry. We had to prepare for a massive show, dancing quite a lot together. And I've also got promoted quite fast through the head instructor position and so on. So after a while, all these cues, all her genuine help, I was interpreting like she was flirting. It was nothing like that.
Like here she is being just a lovely human, and you're like, exactly. Yes, every time.
I know. That's like, it's just like, you're so young, you just came here, and, I'm just helping you. So she was quite direct one of the night of the message, like, are you flirting with me? So now I had to make a decision, right? Yes or no.
But that's a special journey. Obviously, you guys have come from that beginning. You've moved across different parts of Australia. You've finally got the breakthrough opportunity into work here just before you gave up. Like, you're mentally thinking, like, yes, I might go back. And then all of a sudden, you fast forward a few years, you two have come together to purchase your first place.
Yeah.
What's the emotions like to not even just being at a hostel for 1 week at a time to now going, we have jobs in Australia, I have my other half, and we just purchased our first property. What was the emotions and feelings like going through that?
Good question. I think everything happened so fast. Literally, when I arrived to only 2 years ago, I would say things moved so intense that you almost don't have time to think about what's going on. Everything has been so much in autopilot. Between me redundant to the job, then we had cars to pay off, and what we're gonna do, where we're gonna stay, move in a granny flat, trying to save money. Alexa was doing 2 jobs. But one thing we knew is we wanted to create this dance company. So what happens is just after we're able to save some money, purchase. We had no idea what we're doing. The one thing I did know is that by talking to people, I realized, like, hold on, obviously everyone's talking about houses, like investment properties. So everything was quite new to me. So what we done is typically we just, my wife was quite upset that we couldn't get a place. So I said, okay, now it's my job to fix this. So I literally took her by hand in the car. We started just driving around Sydney and just using what we thought was logic at the time, where the right place should be. And we found a place where I'm like, okay, this is near the schools. It's in a central area. It must be the right investment. Literally very basic filters, right?
Tick. You're like,
I know, right? This is it. So it was an apartment off the plan because we thought, at least gives us time to save a bit more money for settlement. And we walked into the shop and the salesman was obviously very good at the job and gave us only partial information. So the little savings we had, we put it down as a deposit, and we thought, that's it. Next year is settlement. We're just going to get a loan, and this is it. So, we were very excited that it's happening until we realized that wasn't exciting at all. Skip forward 6 months. we start getting emails that we need to settle within a few months.
Yeah.
And
it's
that
all
we,
turning real now, right? That you're getting ready for it.
that's right. And they were saying pretty much you have to settle. We need much more for the deposit. We didn't have anything in writing in terms of, no, you said this, I said that. And now we had to not only find the remaining of the deposit, but also now be able to find the loan. And there was a lot of no's because the company was quite young and we were young and so on. So we had to go through 8-9 brokers.
Wow.
That we go.
Intense.
Yeah, we have to. And at the time, also we had our son that was just under 1 year old. We don't have any help in Australia. We didn't have any family, anything. So everything we're doing was just ourselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at that first place, obviously the journey's now taking you to 6 properties in total, which has been a special journey. But when you look at that first property now, so many years later, in comparison to the other 5, there's been a big variance of performance. Like that property, whilst it ticked the personal feel, the emotions that you talked about would have been special. The family's breaking ground here in Australia now. But from a performance level, as an investor hat on now, that didn't do what you wanted it to do. When you look at that, what do you think are the things that you go back in time and you go, Christian's going to go back then, do a couple of things different. What do you think are the things that caused it to not maybe do as well, or maybe what you've learned that you would do again if you had that time?
I would definitely would have surrounded myself with people that know what they're doing, which I have now. And I would,
wait, are you flirting with me by any chance?
I'm already taken. So I would definitely do that. Get more informed. I would definitely not purchase an apartment.
Big one.
And in Sydney. Off the plan.
So off the plan, apartments, high-rise parts of Sydney, and building a team around you.
Correct.
Big 4 parts.
Yes. So that's probably the main thing.
Amazing, because what you've described then is also something that we talk about often with clients, which is the accidental investor. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get my, foot into a market. And then what we usually realize is the first property, the capability of an investor at that time isn't the strength they are today. It's like, I'm just starting. I want to get my foot in. And when your mind starts, doing this, it starts going, where's the best area I can put my foot in? And instead of the best area for a house that's established in a growth area, the mind goes, okay, best area is this suburb, which is a beautiful suburb, by the way, you're in. But then it's like, wow, this is expensive. So what does the mind do? What's the cheapest I can buy in the best area?
That's right.
And then it becomes an apartment. Then it becomes off the plan. Then it becomes what you've experienced. So like that's a big part we share with everyone. But the next 5 purchases, holy moly, like this has been not only rapid, this has been, high performing, diversified across multiple states for you. What's gone into, I think, this just bug that you've caught of property investing or this hunger and passion? When did this hunger and passion switch on? Because many people, when they experience the first one not being the dream investment, they curl up into a ball. They don't make moves. They think investing is not for me. I hate property. Property is something else. I'll focus on this. You didn't do that. Both of you as a couple didn't do that. What changed mentally?
Is the not giving up. I was raised with doesn't matter what, don't give up. And I knew that there has to be something more than that. It was more of a feeling, I would say, that I felt that if there is like a game out there that I still don't really understand the rules and how to play it. So that was bothering me. So I wanted to understand and I wanted to do it as well. It's like, and what helped to kind of literally push everything was actually COVID. Obviously COVID for a lot of people hasn't done well, which it hasn't. But the positive part of it is that forced us to literally sit down, because we had all this time to sit down, and work out how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, how that's, some people can do it, what are we missing? So asking all these questions, and literally with a book, starting to listen to podcasts, starting to listen and getting more informed, and literally writing notes like a school and learning. So that what helped to wanting to do it.
Force change. The pandemic really forced that mindset shift.
Yes, that really forced. I had to keep myself busy because I'm quite active mentally and physically.
Yeah.
I have to do something. I have to have a goal.
Well, I mean, during that time, the pandemic, speaking of that, you, as you mentioned earlier, you're in the dancing space when you first moved in. You've now got a very successful dance business. Could you talk to me about two things? One is like the life of Cristian, like I said, the business owners, and just how that journey's been. But then also what that pandemic did to you mentally on the business side, because there were so many restrictions, so many difficulties, so many things you can't do. Like fighting through that, not only to build wealth, but build the family's future in the business and continue operating. Like hats off to you. Like it's very commendable. Could you maybe take me through the journey of, business, going down that pathway, and then the pandemic and the impacts there?
Yeah, certainly. So from the business side of it, when it all happened, it was literally like in an American movie where everything is the end of the world, right? And the first thing is like, what we're gonna do? We're gonna be the one affected. It's not food, water. It's a luxury item that people can decide not to use it, or they will put at the bottom of the list, right, of necessities. But having a family, employees, you can think about that for a short period of time, and then you have to move on from that. You can't allow that to grow. So you just need to focus on the solutions. And I'm also lucky in a way that my wife and I, from the business mindset, we tend to bounce off each other quite a lot. If, for example, I might freak out in the moment, literally, she might be like, we'll find the solution. As long as we have our health, I have each other, we have, the solution's always going to be there, or vice versa. So with the business, we have to quickly find solutions. So we start creating some videos, and we started to go online. We're lucky that also a big part of our customers were adapting as well and continuing learning through online and videos. So that helped. Once that was set up, you get more with the idea of, okay, we can do this. Definitely on purpose ourselves, we always turned off the noises. What I mean is didn't really follow all the updates about cases, didn't always try not to allow people around to affect our goal. So listen enough to be informed, to know what's happening around you. But on purpose, I literally disconnected a lot of services and television on purpose. So I think we created our own bubble where that was the goal. We can make this work in the meantime. We are okay. The health is there. And that's it. And just keep moving for the goal.
From a business perspective, that business was impacted more than many others. So hats off again, just in terms of what you've done there. Now, with the business, could you tell me, what it is, where is it, some of the things you offer there? Because I'm sure we have a few listeners here who are going, oh, maybe I need to pick up my skills on the feet. What is it?
So it's a social ballroom and Latin dance company for adults. It's called Care to Dance. It's based in Balmain in the inner west area in the New South Wales. We have created, we put dancing on paper, which is unheard of. And we found like Coca-Cola has the secret ingredient. We have our secret ingredient and spices of how to deliver dancing. So we looked out there what everyone is doing and trying to do something different. So we created a very strong, solid structure on how to take an adult that never danced before to a comfortable level.
Well, I got to bring my brother over because if you can make that guy, his legs move even half decent, then you've definitely got the 5 spices of Mr. Sanders sitting in your studio.
So yeah, challenge accepted. We've done, we worked with all sort of projects and people, we have a lot of politicians, people from television, accountant, lawyers, or people retired that they also want to be in an environment that meets also the other sports like golf, sailing, piloting. So it's more of a premium dance company that we deliver as it's a very safe environment, welcome environment, clean environment that people, it's also creating a community. So a lot of our students, they have similar interests, they have similar stories from people that come as they're like very scared of dancing and realize that, for 40, 50 years, they stayed away from the dance floor to skip forward only a year. I'm not talking about 10 years, a year performing in one of our events. So we work on private tuition. A lot of our students have private lessons or our instructors are full-time to be able to pre-plan each lesson in advance. So we have a return on investment. So we approach that very similar, with the properties, because a lot of our clients also are in the properties journey. So we want to make sure that the return is there. So whatever level the students achieve, they can live with 100% of the investment. And it's for fun, hobby, stress relief.
It definitely looks a lot of fun, man. I remember you sharing a video with me, and you and Alexia were showing your dance skills, and and now I know why definitely you were able to easily maneuver your way through all that flirting, because you're a smooth dancer. You absolutely nailed it. Nailed it. But mate, all of that journey to me demonstrates struggle and hustle through getting your first opportunity in investing, and then learning from those mistakes. Starting a business and going through the COVID pandemic, but then coming out the other side and going, no, I want to do this. I want to grow this. Many people decide they want to do it on their own. You didn't. You decided, no, I want to build a team around me, and I don't want this to kind of happen. I want it to for sure happen. Could you talk to me about the motivations of building a team around you, with our team working closely with you, and just some of the biggest things you found in that experience to be of value?
When I first started working in Australia, I've seen the danger of business owners that are unable to let go of certain things in order to grow. So that was what helped create a mindset when we have opened the business. That I do not want to do that. So I've learned that in order to grow, you do need people around you. In order to grow, you have to let go of certain things. You have to give in order to have something coming back. So definitely that helped to the point where the business was growing already with that mindset. Issues we encountered with our first property is like, okay, we have to adopt the same mentality for the property journey. And if we want to get to our goals, which by the way, we always have, even today, a piece of paper on the mirror with all our goals and ticking them and the years and everything, which is fantastic. When you look back, it's like, wow, we actually met the deadline, if not faster. That's the point. After the first property, with this mindset, with the business, we said, okay, you need a team around you, but a strong team.
Yeah.
So then it's like, where do you start from? So of course you need from your lawyers to your accountants to marketing to someone that knows properties. So we start, obviously friends, start asking around if they know anybody. So you start literally from there. And we did dodge quite big bullets because we start, having meetings with this so-called buyer's agent, which they should change their title. Yeah. So, and how did we choose not to go ahead with them? It was literally on instinct. Wow. And that's why I'm very thankful, because that helped a lot. And to give you an idea, give you an example, the first one we went to, they were like, we used your money to help these villages in Africa, and we can promise you 10 years of rental guarantee. Yeah. It's an apartment, off the plan, etc., etc. Which now
you're like, not this again.
Now I'm like, exactly. At the time, I didn't know anything that this was big red flags. Yeah. It's like the ABC of investing, do not go ahead with people that they promise you
Yes.
these things. But at the time, we were like, wow, sounds good. So I can imagine only how many people would maybe, have go into those deals, unfortunately. And we're like, look, there's something not right. Let's not go ahead with them. So search and search and search. Yeah, through constantly searching, we came across you guys, InvestorKit, because of a podcast. I just pick up the phone. Okay, I'm listening to the pandemic every day. I'm gonna pick up the phone, find the number, call, been referred to you, and after the first conversation, after the first meeting, I was 100% sure of you guys and what your team can do. So it literally was based on, at the time, purely on feelings, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did take the risk, right? Because it could have gone either way. We've taken the risk, and we're very happy we took the risk.
Yeah.
And now that we didn't have to now find someone else, because the other part of the team now is a big tick. We found now someone that lives and breathes numbers. They know what they're doing. They're driven, and works quite well with also how we work, how we learn, how the other teams approaches us.
Yeah, so that's one thing I've loved about what you do. You two both together have thought of property investing as an extension of your business.
Yes.
Rather than, we've got to go and just do the separate thing to the side. It's like accounting, marketing, property investing. It's like this wealth storage. And that's the biggest thing I talk to people who are in business. Your business is likely to be the thing that earns the most, quote unquote, money, profit. Property can't do that. You can't tell me a few $100s a week in rent does that, right? But what property can do is like it's storage for your wealth long term. It gives you options. It gives you that security. It gives you that stabilization in the future when you get to it. And you guys took that on full on. You're like, yeah, makes sense. We'll focus on our business. We'll build a team to focus on our wealth building. But then what I wanted to touch on now is you're on this other side, right? There's the Cristian and Alexia before. Mm-hmm. And this is where a huge amount of Australians sit at, the before building a team around me. Then there's this other side. We've gone and purchased many properties together now across multiple states. What have you come to learn that happens on this side that you just never feel you'd get on this side that has now helped you get some of the results? Like building a team is one part, but what are some of the things that you felt you saw behind the scenes to go, this is why I'm here. This helps me. This really gets me ahead.
Equity.
Yeah. Results, Sergeant. I love that you're getting it. Move on.
The one part that everyone was talking about after, the first property, start getting more information, was this famous equity. Like one thing I was trying to get my head around was how people rinse and repeat, how they able to get the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. So I'm like, it has to be something. And you hear about equity, you kind of understand in theory, but until it happens, that you go to the bank and you see, the team tells you, okay, this is the numbers, you don't believe it. So when the results start coming in and be able to see that you can use these results in your advantage and be able to purchase the next property, then we'll be like, this is the formula. And that tells me also the reason why a lot of people maybe get stuck in the first or second is if unfortunately those purchases are wrong. Because we were able to, the first one was already like, okay, you have high chance now to get stuck because you purchased the wrong one. It's not really performing in short term. So we're lucky that with the second one, it was the right one. So now we were behind one, but also we were not 100% stuck. Yeah. I'm sure that if the second one was also purchased wrong, all these chances would have been quite, zero.
Yeah. So that's a big opening of the mindset is once you get it right, once you get confidence, you get the momentum, you get the equity, and you go again. Were there things though on the other side that you felt that, okay, I really, even if I had the time, I haven't had the capability to do these ABC, and whether that's the research or whether that's the off markets or things like that, what do you feel are the biggest things that you now feel have helped this equity come to life, in your opinion, when you're building a portfolio?
One thing that I knew is that I have to focus on my business and the family and the kids in order to this, what we always see in the property, more of a, as you said, an extension on the side. So I knew I wouldn't have the ability, neither the time, more so the time, to focus on the whole process from finding a purchasing, settlement, and the after bit. So I needed to find someone that able to take care of the whole process. And without that help, I wouldn't be able to move that fast.
Okay.
Which helps because I was able to help to on the business side of it, which is the main thing that helped to get to these properties. So I said, okay, I'll focus on what I know I do well and I can, and let someone else focus on what they can do well on purchasing.
Yeah, that speed part, I was just thinking that through. Not many people mention that, and that's a really good point. Because if you go property investing alone, it's not that you can't be successful. You can be successful alone. But when you go at it alone, it's an exhausting journey. You've taken time, energy, effort away from your business. You've gotten it alone. Say you purchased it, but what happens if it took you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get to it? Now in your mind, mentally, you're like, okay, let me take a break from this. I'll focus here again. I don't want to do too much of this. And then all that time goes, because life goes fast.
That's right.
And then now you're thinking, oh, maybe I should do this again. Oh, but it's full on. How many weekends am I going to use? The driving that you did all around the Sydney, right? That's a really good point, because the thing is, it's not just the outcome. It's you can condense your buying, which you've done really quickly. The last 5 you've purchased have been in quick succession, right? Coming to these last 5 that you've purchased, when it comes to the mistakes that you've seen people around you make, like not necessarily you, because you've gone past that first one, you've got successful moves after that, but you've done investing in a certain way now, and you must see friends, family, people around you. What are some of the other common mistakes you see them make knowing what you know today?
One of them is, and it's more common than what you think, invest in the backyard. Because, example, grew up in Sydney, I live in Sydney, I know Sydney, I feel confident to invest in Sydney.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one thing.
And what made you comfortable with going out the backyard? Because all the places we purchased was like, you've got Queensland in your portfolio, you've got South Australia, you've got WA, you've got NSW. Like, what made you go, it doesn't bother me? Like, it bothers many people to not feel it, see it, touch it. But for you, it didn't. How come?
Maybe you have to be a little bit crazy. My wife says. No, I'm joking. Yeah, maybe you do need to have a bit of, be able to block noises and risk appetite, right? And maybe in my advantage, now that I'm thinking about this, is I did not grow up in Sydney. So I wasn't emotionally attached in a way. My money has to be in Sydney and kept in Sydney.
Right.
So that could be an advantage that for me was more about, I would look at investing more as Australia, the country, not as a suburb, Sydney.
And you've come from Gold Coast, Brisbane.
Yes.
So it's almost like you've kind of touched a few different parts. So for you, it's like, hey, Australia's Australia.
That's right.
Wherever the opportunities are. Like,
Yes.
that's a good way to think about it. So backyard investing was one. Any other tips that you feel, looking back at it, when you see the friends and or colleagues or family that you see them invest and they don't get it right? What are some other things you see?
They don't want to spend the money in the buyer's agent's fees. So
Yeah.
everything comes at a cost, of course, right? Everyone gets paid for their time. And, so I could be in a car park for hours and hours, find a car spot, or I could go to valet and save time elsewhere, right?
Westfield, Sydney.
Exactly.
How good's their valet?
Exactly.
You just come in, it's like,
exactly.
done.
So either, time's money, literally. So, I prefer to pay the valet parking and use the rest of my time to make money elsewhere. So I had the same approach for the buyer's agent fees. Obviously, you pay for a service, and most people don't want to. Some they cannot, perhaps, but most of them, which a lot of friends and family, they actually don't want to, and they think I can do it, and they say I was saving money there. It's easy, and I would just do it. So I don't believe that. Obviously, that's probably the next issue that a lot of people do. So they take a very higher. It's a much higher the risk they're taking compared to the fees.
Yeah, it's like you're making a decision on a $500,000 asset or bigger, and you're not looking at it from the asset that you're trying to get better. You're looking at from it whether I pay the fee or not.
Correct.
And that's a
Correct.
wrong mindset to have.
Looking from the wrong corner to the wrong area. Because if you purchase wrong, then we know what happens. Plus, obviously, they will have, all them need to look for the one, all the maintenance that comes with it, finding it, talking to people, and that's a lot of hours that could go somewhere else into your own business, for example. And if something happened around Australia, then you have to drop everything and just go there when you could have someone else accountable for. And deal with that person directly.
Yeah, it's a great tip, because everything I'm hearing, a lot of it's like you realizing your time and energy is best spent in a certain area, because your business then compounds and grows.
Correct.
Rather than you split focusing. And that seems to be a common theme, because it's like, I want to avoid mistakes, I get someone else to help. I want to build a team, it's an extension of my business, I want to focus in on what I do. I want to be borderless, because I don't want to just focus on where I live and touch and know. I'm new to this country. I don't need to know everything. I don't even know Sydney completely, because even 10 years on for me, I don't know all of Sydney. But then it's like you kept bringing this aspect of focus back to the business. Focus back to the business. Right. And that's powerful. So with that focus and with the portfolio you've grown to date, you take a step back, properties aside. What's this all for? Like, what keeps Cristian and Alexia motivated each morning, the goals that you're going towards? What's this all for?
Being honest is we don't want to have a mediocre life. We want to have a bit of everything. What that means is health, family, success in business, and have certain freedoms, location freedom, financial freedom. So that life that we created in our goal, that's what's keeping us motivated. We both come from immigrant, poor families, no big families. Both of us have lived and seen similar struggles through our parents. So that's one thing in common, and that's what you don't want to have.
I see that as well from you, not just like for you two, but I see you knowing you personally. I see that for you and your kids, like the way you don't want them. It's almost like you as you grow successfully across business, personal investing, you don't want them to see some of the things you've had to see. And I can just feel that, like I see it from, the videos, the socials, the travels, the conversations with you. It's like you want to provide them a life that, is so different to the one you've grown up in. And it's very admirable, like just to see that in what you do. Mate, today's been a great session to learn from where you came from, to getting started, the mistakes, the strengths, and now building a multi-property portfolio across the country. You guys should be very proud. And from the dance moves that you should display to the teaching that you do, if anyone wants to go and check out the dance business that you have, remind us again, where is it? What's the name?
Care to Dance in Balmain.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, mate, thank you again for your time on the InvestorKit podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.